went into Baltimore and quite literally ran the Ravens out of their own building, rushing for 224 yards, sacking Lamar career-high 7 times en route to a 38-30 Lions victory. Baltimore finds themselves at the bottom of the division now, 1-2. Suddenly, they have a fumbling problem as Derrick Henry has fumbled the ball 3 times in 3 games. Last night was not to pile on here, but tough start to the season for Henry, who has 2 fumbles lost and just 10 rushes in the 4th quarter this season. The same amount of fumbles lost that Henry had in 595 rushes in the 4th quarter entering this year. Obviously, this has not been the norm for Henry, but now we're getting accustomed to it this season. And so, Canty, I begin with you. What is the chief concern for the Ravens at this point?
It's the psyche of the Baltimore Ravens. And I said it after their Week 1 loss to the Buffalo Bills. I'm wondering if this team is going to have the requisite confidence that it takes for them to get up over the hump when it matters the most in the postseason. That's if they don't disqualify themselves in the regular season. Last night was the Ravens' 16th loss since 2020 when they've had a touchdown or more lead in the second half. That's 7 more than any other team in the NFL during that span. At some point, that's got to affect your confidence as a team. And whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that's where we're starting to get with the Baltimore Ravens. We're having to question whether or not John Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson can lead this group of men where they ultimately want to go, which is to the Super Bowl and being crowned as the AFC champions. Remember, no Joe Burrow to deal with.
Yep.
The Kansas City Chiefs don't look like the team of old. It's seemingly a clear path for the Baltimore Ravens this year to get to where they want to go, and yet their season has started out unlike anything that anyone expected.
To me, the issue with Baltimore is there isn't just one chief concern. I think the defense last night was the most disappointing, but I think when you couple the fact that the Lions looked completely like the Ravens defense didn't give the Lions any issues. The Lions were 4 for 5 in the red zone. But when you look at the fact that Lamar was sacked 7 times, the offensive line, no protection. Defensively, Jared Goff was clean the whole night. So you're not getting pressure, you're not protecting your quarterback. And then the Harbaugh thing for me, the punting on 4th and 9 from your own 32 with 4.5 minutes left, like to me, it's like you're already down. Like have some confidence that your team can go and score because your defense hasn't stopped the Lions. I don't think there is one chief concern because there's so many issues with the Ravens that we continuously see. For me, as somebody who was in Baltimore Week 1, I was in Buffalo Week 1 and watched the Ravens lose to the Buffalo Bills, this game was far more concerning to me. And that, to me, is a big issue.
Well, you were in Buffalo the opening week. I was in Baltimore last night. I'm still sleepy, but it's good to see y'all. Let me get this out the way right now. Kimberly, you're wrong because of this reality. Everything that you pointed to, as right as you are, all comes back to coaching. This is not a problem you're supposed to be having if you're a John Harbaugh team, period. They had 20 missed tackles last night. 20. Let's look at the drives that they surrendered. 5 touchdown drives, 67, 98, 60, 96, and 70 yards. The Lions are the first team in 13 years to have multiple 90-plus yards in a game against the Ravens. In 13 years. 20 missed tackles. You're giving up 2 90-plus yard drives. You saw the 5 drives that I pointed out. You can't tackle. You can't stop anybody. That's coaching. This is not something that we expect to be talking about with a John Harbaugh team. So if you're looking at it from that standpoint, listen, Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson, and I got that part. And he's got to get over the hump. We get that. Derrick Henry, listen, it's not good that he's fumbled these first 3 games, but let's face reality. We really believe that's going to continue to happen. This is King Henry.
No.
Yeah.
This is King Henry we're talking about here. So do I believe that Lamar Jackson will fix whatever doldrums he has? Yes. Do I believe that Derrick Henry will fix it? Yes. But who's fixing that defense? Who's fixing that defense? I mean, that defense is giving up now. You gave up 40. You gave up 38 last night. I'm looking at 41 to Buffalo. I'm just looking at them right now, and I'm saying to myself, this is not, if Ray Lewis, wherever he is, I'm going to hear from Ray. You could put money in the bank. I'm going to hear from Ray Lewis this week. At some point, and it's not. And when I talk to Ray Lewis, understand something. It's very little conversation. It's usually when he's venting. So it's just shut up and listen.
So you're just
go ahead, let it out. And Ray, man, where are they? I mean, he's going for him. for Ed Reed, cats like that, to see what they established as Ravens. It was always a T-Sizzle, Terrell Suggs. These guys established a level of greatness, a level of toughness. You were not going to push them around. You were not going to run roughshod over them. Well, how many rushes? 220 yards?
224 yards.
224 yards. 224 yards rushing against the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh, on a morning like this, he really, really needs, he's the one that doesn't need to come into work. He's the one that needs to sit there and look in the mirror and really reflect on who he is and what he stands for, because they're violating him. There's not a single person on the Baltimore Ravens defense that should be proud to have their name on the back of that jersey.
I'm not saying you're wrong, but you're putting this at Harbaugh's feet. Are you putting it at Zach? Are you putting it at Zach Orr's feet, the defensive coordinator? Because you're only talking about Harbaugh right now. That's why.
Hold on. Who does Zach Orr work for?
He works for John Harbaugh. Yeah, I understand.
That's who he works for.
I understand.
I'm going to the main.
But ultimately, the players play, right?
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, hold on. To Stephen A's point, either you're coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. And that's what we're seeing from the Baltimore Ravens.
That's right.
And to his point, when you go into the Ravens facility at the Castle, there's a sign when you walk in the door that says, "Play like a Raven."
That's right.
You see it walking in, you see it walking out. The same at the locker room at M&T Bank Stadium.
I saw it.
There's a sign, "Play like a Raven." You know what? Matter of fact, the reason why I think we saw something uncharacteristic last night from the Ravens was because you took your tail down there to Monday Night Football. You never go to Monday Night. You was at the game, and that's probably why they played the way they did.
It was special.
They wilted under the pressure of Stephen A. Smith being at M&T Bank Stadium.
That's entirely plausible.
That's entirely plausible. That's what happened.
It's entirely plausible. Listen, you know, because you know the heat's coming. You see what I'm saying? And that might be what it is.
They knew he was going to talk about him.
Man's been at a million games in his life.
But Stephen, in all seriousness, you're right. We do need to put John Harbaugh under the microscope. And I'm not sitting here saying that they're going to fire John Harbaugh. I know they gave him the contract extension.
And he shouldn't be fired.
Last year, but he's a proven program builder in this league. But I'm also going to acknowledge that if we can criticize Sean McDermott for not getting the Bills to the Super Bowl, if we can criticize Mike Tomlin for not getting the Pittsburgh Steelers to go on a deeper playoff run, then we damn well better criticize John Harbaugh.
Especially when
you got
Lamar Jackson. And now you got King Henry too.
But Stephen A., that was my point. Mike Tomlin has the same amount of wins in the playoffs over the last decade as John Harbaugh. Mike Tomlin has more playoff appearances over the last decade than John Harbaugh. So if we're going to criticize Mike Tomlin, if we're sitting here questioning whether or not there needs to be a consideration in terms of the organization, in terms of the two individuals at the center of it pivoting, if we're asking those questions about the Steelers, we got to ask those tough questions about the Ravens. I'm not saying that the Ravens should move on from John Harbaugh, but I do think it's fair to question whether or not John Harbaugh is the guy to get the Baltimore Ravens to where they want to go. Last point about this, the Ravens haven't won multiple playoff games in a single postseason since they won the Super Bowl in 2012.
That's problematic.
That's a problem.
Here's the thing. For one, we don't only criticize the coaches. You guys laid out, we did it to Nick Sirianni multiple times on this show, who just came off of a Super Bowl win. It is something that we do. But the bigger issue, I think, with the defense in terms of the Ravens is the fact we all saw it coming. How many times were they going to rush the ball the same exact way over and over, and there was no way to stop it?
Well, that's the worst feeling in football. When they running the ball, you know they running the ball, and you can't stop it.
Over and over.
Kyle Hamilton, the all-pro safety for the Ravens, said that coming into the game.
Yeah, but this is the thing that makes it worse, because you, who's usually at the games, you, who knows your football, y'all know I'm telling the truth. This is not something that is associated with the Ravens. No matter what talent they have on the offensive side,